Hi there, Tom Jeffries of the HowStreet.com channel here on YouTube. One of our favorite guests here at HowStreet.com is our resident expert on petroleum, all things geological, and far beyond that, geopolitics as well. Mr. Byron King is the co-editor of Outstanding Investments, part of Agora and their crew, and also Scarcity Investor. Mr. King is one of the headline speakers here at the 10th annual Agora Wealth Symposium here at the Hotel Vancouver. Welcome back to the coast, Byron.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Tom.
I think it was 4 years ago we sat at one of the tables here at the hotel and we were looking at the price of petroleum, but it was on the way up and skyrocketing. Now it looks like at the downslope. Where are we headed here, Byron?
Well, if you said, is petroleum going to be $50 a barrel, I'd say yes. If you said it's going to be $100 a barrel, I'd say yes. Will it be $150? I'd say yes. It's just a question of knowing when. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've ridden the roller coaster in the last year. Even today at whatever it is, $64, $65 a barrel, that's not quite double what it was in the end of December, which was about $35, $33 a barrel. Mm-hmm. So we've had quite a year. I would say don't plan on cheap oil in the future. Plan on expensive.
Everybody, of course, the oil sands here in Canada, Byron, are getting a little nervous because $60 is about the break even. And so the last couple of months, it's been a lot of nail biting. So I think really between the lines here, you say, hang on, boys, better times ahead.
Better times for them ahead, yeah. I just don't see the low oil prices lasting, partly because the rest of the world, the developing world, is developing. I mean, they want petroleum. They need petroleum to do what they want to do. And I don't see I see depletion continuing its evil work, drawing down the existing stocks. A lot of exploration and development has been throttled back. You let that play through the 2 to 3 year cycle of exploration, drilling, confirmation, the beginning of development, and all of a sudden, you're going to have severe shortages in the next year and a half to 2 years.
Because of the horrible gyration in prices, are not true too, is sort of water sloshing from one side of the gunnel to the other. They start laying people off, those crews are dispersed, they go to Saudi Arabia, then the money comes back in and they have to go out and hire crews. Sounds like very inefficient business and tough to really forward cast.
It is really tough to plan long term in a short-term market, a market that's being gyrated at the short term the way it is. I've gone to a couple of different conferences where energy executives from the big companies, the large independents, the medium, small companies, the drilling companies, the service supply companies, they are lamenting this. They are doing the best they can to protect their personnel during these times. Sometimes, though, you have to run your business by the numbers. You can't let that part of it get away from you, or you've got other problems to deal with downstream. So they're trying to keep the good people and trying to keep them employed. Higher and more stable oil prices would help. Of course, that translates into higher prices at the pump, which other people don't seem to like for some reason.
Yeah, I've never quite figured that out. Let's talk a bit about capacity here too. Refineries, we haven't built a new one in Canada since I was in short pants. Are we getting quite close to the edge here for refinery capacity?
In North America, yeah, the refining industry has been shortchanged in terms of new refineries, green fields or new refineries from the ground up. The good news in the refining industry is a couple pieces of good news, and I know that'll shock at people who follow the refining industry. They'll say, what possibly could be the good news from the refining industry? Refinery expansions across North America over the past couple of decades have added the equivalent of several new refineries, where you expand your refinery, you modify an older refinery, you put in new equipment, you take out the old stuff, you change your procedures and your processes. You wind up getting more product out of the same barrel. And so that it's kind of like building a new refinery without building the new refinery. The other thing is that certainly in the last year, I give the refining industry a lot of credit for managing the downturn very well. I mean, it included throttling back production, it included certain layoffs, certain targeted closures to balance the amount of petroleum products being demanded in the marketplace with what they had the capacity to produce. It's been a tough year for refinery margins, very, very thin margins, if they're making any margins at all, crimping the profits. And we haven't come to the end of it. I mean, things are tough, and they're going to get tougher in the refining industry over the next few months.
Right on the floor right now, we're looking at natural gas is wobbling along the basement here. A lot of people are saying that perhaps, including to your readers and Scarcity Investor, that perhaps it'll be a bit of a better fall, or I'm missing the message here.
Well, natural gas is a victim of its own success, really. In the olden days of spudding a well and drilling a vertical hole in the ground, you would find gas, and that was the model. Now you've got this directional drilling with hydraulic fracturing down below, where you're opening up these vast areas of what used to be considered uneconomic or at best marginal plays. And so a lot of what used to be an uneconomic a concept has been turned into a natural gas resource or booked as a reserve, but that extra supply, coupled with the national and North American worldwide recession, which has lowered industrial demand for electricity, lowered industrial demand for natural gas, for the chemical industry, and for other applications. It's not that people don't heat their homes in the wintertime, of course they do, but it's just, the demand for natural gas has really tightened up quite a bit in the last year in North America. And we see it, we feel it in the natural gas marketplace. At some point, though, your natural gas producers cannot produce much more natural gas at a loss. I mean, at some point you have to shut the well in. Right. And a cold winter, an economic recovery, things of that nature could start to bring some of that natural gas back online, raise the prices. The good news about some of this gas that's been shut in is that the way you unshut it in is you turn a valve.
We're just about out of time here, Byron, but I know you write in Scarcity Investor about some of the coming good news with alternative energy. Do we have some good news down the pike here? Do we really have a future with alternative energy? If so, is it going to be in the next couple of years, or was it a long horizon?
Oh, I think we have to be very, very patient. It's a long horizon. Right now in the United States, for example, 87% of our total energy comes from fossil fuels, coal, oil, natural gas. In 20 years, with massive investment in alternative energy, we might get that 87% down to 80%. But I think there's a lot of carbon in our future, which then gets into the whole discussion of what are we going to do about CO2, global warming,
cap and
trade, all these things. Those are all other discussions for another time.
Our guests have been Byron King, Scarcity Investor from Agora Financial, also Outstanding Investments. And Mr. King also is a frequent contributor to Daily Reckoning, Whiskey and Gunpowder. Byron, it's good to see you back here on the West Coast, and we are always pleased to have you in a few minutes with you.
Thank you, Tom. It's good to be here.
Byron King. Thank you very much, Byron. Tom Jeffries in the HowStreet.com channel here on YouTube. Thanks for watching.
Comments made on How Street Video and HowStreet.com are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at HowStreet.com. How Street Video is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.